Welcome to the Keep the Faith podcast. I am your host, Tori, and I'd like to welcome you guys out today. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. It was holiday weekend, but I don't celebrate Halloween, but you know how that goes. But anyway, I'm actually going to be, turn your volume down. And what I'm going to do is give me a minute, folks. I'm going to make an attempt to share this to my personal page. So bear with me. Let's see. And I'm also going to try to share it to my Keep the Faith page. Okay. All right. Did it share to my page? Mm-hmm. Okay. You share it to yours?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. So if it didn't go to my if it didn't go to my Keep the Faith page, then we'll do that later. But nonetheless, Isaac Wilson is in the building. I'm gonna call him the jack of all trades. He got a lot going on. And before we get into what we're here for, like I said, I'm gonna throw some topics out there to you. But before we get into the topic at hand, tell everyone I don't know who doesn't know you, but for those that don't know Isaac Wilson, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Isaac Wilson, the third, born right here in good old Florence, South Carolina. Graduated of the greatest high school in the land, Wilson High School, class of 2006. And I am what you would call a political junkie, political strategist, political insider, all of those good things. But most importantly, I am a servant of the people in communities. And so that's my passion. Children are my passion. And so I guess that's why she called me a jack of all trades. I kind of dib and dabble in everything. So.
Absolutely. Now let me say something. What made you, and this is since there is an election tomorrow, mm-hmm. I know there is in Darlington. I'm not sure if there's in Florence, but I know we got some local officials that we have to select on tomorrow. So what made you interested in politics? Is politics something that you was always interested in as a child growing up? Is that something that was always an interest to you?
I think I got into it around maybe 7th, 8th grade. And it was just always, wanting to have a seat at the table. Like, you can't make change. You can't affect it. You can't, be the person of importance that everybody wants to come to. And so, I got into it for, started kind of making it a thing for that reason. But then I said, okay, they do real work. And so when it started seeing what a politician really, really does, they make decisions that affect homes and affect families and affect your everyday life. And I wanted to be a part of that because who's going to sit at the table and talk about where I come from? And I did. And I wanted it to be me because I knew that, a lot of young folk from my area we didn't care about it. We're going to let those old folk that's already doing it. So I got involved to have that young voice to be able to speak for our next generation.
And also, I'm going to ask you this question because some people think, they still, and I will admit, I was one of those people when I was in college. I'd probably say 19, 20 years old, but I'm in my 40s now. But I was one of those people that said my vote didn't matter. Explain to people why our vote matters, not just for the presidential voting, but also the local to elect our local officials. Why is voting so important?
Local elections are the most important because they're the ones that are affecting the everyday life that you live. So your city council is affecting whether or not you can smoke in a building. Your city council is affecting whether you got to wear that mask getting out that building downtown. So your local elections affect every part of your life. Think about the quality of life that you have. Being able to drive your car down whatever road you want to drive it down, being able to, go where you want to go, being able to have a party where you want to have it at, put a building where you want to put it at. Those are all local election things. So your vote matters to put a person in that position to be able, when you come up with that idea or you want to do something, you're able to do it, or you can go to that person and get it done. So your vote definitely does matter because if you get somebody in there that don't really care about what you got going on or what you want to do, it might not ever happen.
Exactly. And here's the thing. There are some politicians, they say they're going to do one thing, and then when they get in office, they don't do what they say. And it's like I tell people all the time, use your own judgment, but use discernment as well. But a lot of times we get disappointed because we may put someone in office because they've made so many promises and then don't fulfill those promises. So it's so important that we put the right people in office. And like you said, we want to have, and it's not just now. I will say this: you have people that's going to vote for people just because they
popular.
Yes, the popular, but you want to vote people in that's going to get the job done.
Right.
Going to get the job done. And like I said, fulfill the promises that they said they would. Now, I want to talk too much I just want to touch on that because we got election tomorrow. So I'm encouraging everyone to vote. And I'm in Darlington County, so I will be voting tomorrow. And usually what I do when I go to the polls, I always take my son to vote. Good, I take him with me. He just celebrated his 16th birthday. So I'll be taking him with me to the polls when he gets out of school. But I wanted to tell people to make sure you vote those local official elections. Just like I say, it's very important. And like I said, I was one of those people that didn't think it was important. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, what was crazy to me when I started in radio over 20 years ago, I'm like registering people to vote, right? Mm-hmm. So my program director was like, "Well, Tori, you registering people to vote? Are you registered?" How I was registering people to vote, and I wasn't a registered voter. I'm telling people to vote, and I wasn't a registered voter. He was like, "Now, how are you going to tell people to vote and you're not registered?" So
it happens a lot.
Yeah. So what I had to do, I registered, and I had to, how can I tell you to do something and I'm not doing it? So at that time I got registered and I have been voting ever since. Been voting in everything. Anytime it's time to vote, I'm voting. And then as I can do my research, what am I voting for? But I vote in every election. So I will definitely be voting tomorrow. But yeah, I was ignorant at one point. I will admit that I was ignorant because the thing about it, when I was in college, I think I had the opportunity to vote when I was 18. I could have voted for President Clinton, but I wasn't a registered voter. And my roommate was like, "Well, Tori," she was so excited. We're 18, we could vote. I'm like, man, ain't nobody voting. And like I said, I was ignorant. I will admit that I was very ignorant to voting. But now that I'm a registered voter, I make sure I vote. So make sure you guys vote. Don't be like me.
voting, and you saw it in this past election that voting. Look at Georgia, voting. They elected the first black senator,
right,
from Georgia, right, because they went out and voted.
Right.
We got rid of Donald Trump,
right,
because we went out and we vote. So don't think that your vote doesn't matter. Now, tomorrow you have a Florence County Council race here in Florence. I won't tell you who to vote for, but I will go on record to say I'm a Democrat. So that should tell you much. But rest assured that whoever you put in that seat, your kids play a lot of county sports. The county has the highest budget in Florence County. County Council has the highest budget. So those sports fields that your children play on there in the county, they got to vote on that.
Right.
You don't have a park in your area, your county council votes on that. The uniforms, the games, all of that comes from Florence County because they control it. It's city council. They control the parks. They control the beautification of the county, all of that. So that's everyday living for you. That's your quality of life. So even for your children, they control a lot of what happens. So make sure your vote counts on tomorrow so you can have a better future for you and your children.
Absolutely. You know what? We're going to touch base on that before we end the live as well. But I also want to talk about, you actually wrote some books on bullying.
Yes.
Now tell me what was the reason behind writing the books? Because my son, I tell this story all the time. My son was bullied, and he's now virtual. Now, prior to him going virtual, he was not doing well in school at all. And come to find out, he was being bullied. And now that he's virtual, he's a straight A student.
Y'all should have called me. We would have got that problem fixed. Call me.
Listen, we still may call you to do some things because there's still students that are still being bullied because this is his second year doing virtual, of course, due to COVID, but he wants to go back to school next year. So he's a sophomore now in high school. So he did all of the latter part of his 8th grade year, entire 9th grade year, and his entire 10th grade year. So he wants to go, his last 2 years, he want to go back to school. And my son is the type of person, he doesn't bother anyone. And I'm nervous that I hope nobody bothers him again, but it is what it is. But, touch bases on that. Why you wrote the book.
We can teach you some tactics going to school now. From when I was in school.
Right.
But what made me write the book was, I came back in 2011 after living in Canada for a while, and there was nothing going on bullying wise here in the States. And the whole reason I got started in bullying prevention was because there was a story in Pennsylvania where a girl hung herself in her closet, a high school student, at the thought of facing a world of bullying which nobody had prepared her for. Nobody prepared her for it.
Right.
And so it was just a news story. So I was like, well, how do we reach the children? How do we get them before they get there to high school?
Right.
And so I said, oh, ding dong, let's put it in a book and let's write that story there. And so I went down to Paris Island on the way back from Jacksonville, Florida, and I got my pen and paper out, and I wrote that book right there in Paris Island for our elementary kids to learn before it even gets out of hand, to learn early what bullying was and how do we kind of tackle it.
Wow. So how long was that process with writing the book? How long did it take you to physically write the book?
It took me about 6 months to write it. And then it took me like another 3 to keep dumbing it down because I was writing using big words.
Right.
I wonder if the third grade gonna understand what this word means. So, I wrote that sentence like that. So it took me pretty much a whole year to kind of finish the book.
And do you have one or two books?
I have two children's
books. That's what
one
I thought.
One for males and one for females.
That is cool. Now, also, I want to touch bases. If someone wants to purchase the book, we're going to actually also do it like a promo after the show, so we can tell people how to get the book. And you also have, not only do you have two books, you also have paraphernalia.
Yeah, paraphernalia is available. We have our bullying t-shirts. Speak up and speak out about bullying. Do the right thing. We actually sold about 50 of them in the last week of October. October was awesome. National Bullying Prevention Month. So go and get your hoodies, go and get your sweatshirts, your t-shirts, long sleeve. You can get all that from there. We got some hats coming soon. We got some new designs coming soon. So yeah, be prepared. We're going to take this bullying prevention, suicide prevention train all the way until they wake up and realize that it is an epidemic that we need to fix here in this country.
And you're actually open, so if someone calls you to come to the schools, you're actually open to talk to the schools.
I'll be at Timrod on Wednesday speaking to students from 8:30 till 12. I'll be at Timrod, and then on Thursday I'll be at Greenwood Elementary.
Oh wow, yeah. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, but we travel the country to do that. That's what we do.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome because there's so many kids that are currently being bullied, and you'll be surprised that they won't say anything. Because like I said, my son was one of those kids that I noticed the decline in his grades, but when I asked him what was going on, he wouldn't tell me. And finally, he just said, "This person is, And I'll say this, and I said this before. You're probably gonna laugh, but I'm one of those parents, and most parents are like this. When somebody's bothering your child, you gonna try to defend your child. Because like I said, what I did, I went to the school, and I will say I got a little ratchet. I went to the house, but
you did.
I went to the house, but the parent wasn't there, and the child wouldn't open the door. But I went to the house. I did that. And I had to repent, but I went, because like I said, my son, he don't bother anyone. But I went to the house, and little boy, you can hear somebody coming to the door.
Right.
That boy looked at that people like, oh, that boy, mama, ain't open the door. But yeah, I went to the house. But I have repented from that, y'all. I'm not ratchet anymore. I'm reformed ratchet. I'm not ratchet anymore. But I was ready. You remember what Bernie Mac said, right?
Got to be ready.
Yeah, I'll fight a kid, But like I said, I don't do that anymore. But I did go to the house.
Yeah, we try to prevent that from happening.
You should have saw your face. You're like, you did what?
we try to take a whole holistic approach, getting the school, the parent, and the teachers involved, and handle it from that point, because we don't want our children to grow up thinking that that's the way that we handle issues.
Right.
And then you get the police involved, the police, how they're going now,
right?
With us people,
right?
And we end up in jail,
right?
So we don't want that to happen. So
yes.
We definitely don't want to do that. So I'm happy that you repented from the ratchet era of your ways. So
yes, I did not handle that correctly at all. I did not handle it, but at the time, like I said, he was in middle school, and like I said, a lot has changed. He's more, like I said, my son is more mature now, and hopefully when he returns to school, he'll be able to handle. Like I said, I'm gonna have you talk to him so you can prepare him with the tools, so he's prepared when he goes back to school.
Now, I will say this, and hear me clearly. When I say this at schools, teachers and parents kind of say, "Ooh," when you put your hands on the child, it is no longer bullying. That is assault.
Right.
Call the police. I don't care if the child is 10. I don't care if the child is 11, 12. If the school won't handle it and the parent won't handle it, once you touch and physically put your hands on a child, that is now called assault. I don't care what state you go to. It's called assault. Call the police.
Right.
The schools will start handling it then.
Right. And see, that was one of the things why I went to the house, because I did that 1st.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the school. Mm-hmm. Nothing was done. Mm-hmm. And that's why I took matters in my own.
Well, call me. If something happened, call me, and we get it rectified.
I'll call you next time.
Most school districts don't like me, so that's good.
Well, hopefully I won't have to call you. Right. But if something arises, I will definitely be calling you. Now, you have this huge event that's coming up this month. As a matter of fact, what, a week and a half?
Next Friday.
Woo, that's next Friday?
Next Friday, November 12th.
Okay. And it's the 5th annual evening of distinction. So tell everyone about the 5th annual distinction and tell everybody why you started doing this.
So 5 years ago, I wanted to honor people that was doing great things. Well, I was getting an award by Distinction Inspirational Magazine 5 years ago, and they were honoring me for my service and all the work that I did. I said, well, I don't want to be the only one. Let me find some people in the neighborhood that's been doing some good things and let me honor them while I'm getting honored.
Right.
And so from there, it birthed an evening of distinction. And we started saying, well, this is what we're going to do. Those people that aren't normally awarded, we're going to start awarding them. These are people that are doing great, amazing things for years, and nobody's ever given them their due and given them their flowers. So my thing is, I want to give people their flowers while they're here and get people to notice that they are doing great things. Like, you know, for your community, if it wasn't for this person, you know, doing what they're doing, we might not be where we are, because they're moving the agenda forward. They're moving the beautification of the city forward. They're making sure we got this grant for the children, making sure that your child got that snack at that Boys and Girls Club, or at when Weed and Seed was open. So that was could have but the reason that it started. And now we kind of birthed into a thing where it's for Black culture. It's all the lawyers and the doctors and the entrepreneurs and all on being Black. Mm-hmm. And the Black supporters, the Black sponsors of the awards. It's all Black. It's Black excellence all in the room. And it's a great, great feeling to look across the room and see all these heavyweights in there, and they're the same color as you. And so that tells our young Black kids that, hey, you too, whatever facet that you decide to go to or whatever you do, that you too can be sitting in this room one day, getting this award and being a hero of your community.
Absolutely. Now, how does that process work? Like, if someone wants to, if you want to go, like, say if I knew someone that was doing great things in the community, how would I go about nominating that particular person, and how much in advance? Since you have it, if I'm not mistaken, you have it every November, right? Every
November.
So how does that process look? What does that process look like if you want to nominate somebody? How early do you have to submit the form, and what exactly do you have to do to nominate people?
Well, we have a board that come together and we kind of put things together. So it's not really a nomination process, but we will take suggestions from people. So if you got somebody that you think or you feel that should be nominated, a simple Facebook message, or email from our, you can go to our website at theisaacwilsonproject.org, fill out a form and say, hey, I think this person here is doing great things. We'll take a look at them, see the great work that they're doing, and we'll make it happen. So it's very, very laid back. You might see the glitz and glamour and think that, hey, it's a great big production on that night, but we're very laid back. We want it to be, not something like, it's the Globes or anything where it's all this, but it's just tell us somebody that's doing something great and we'll look into them and get it done.
And my other question was, is it limited to Florence natives, or is it all over? I've never been. I've heard great things about it, but I've never been. So that's why I said I got to get him on the show so we can talk about it. So it's like, it doesn't matter where.
It doesn't matter where. We try to get people from the PD area. So it doesn't matter. We got Gerald Malloy, who's from Hartsville. He doesn't serve nothing of Florence.
Right.
He doesn't do nothing in Florence.
Right.
He serves on the on several committees as a senator. So of course he does something for Florence.
Yes.
But in regards to his area, he's Hartsville, Darlington, Marlboro, all that kind of stuff. So you don't necessarily have to live in Florence. You can be from anywhere as long as you're doing great work. We want to put it out there and let people know that this is Black excellence across the state.
And it's a beautiful thing because last year I saw the videos, I saw the pictures. I was like, you know what? And then when I saw it this year, and then I shared the
Yeah.
post, actually, I'm going to do that again once we end the live. But I also want to encourage people to come out to the event.
Mhm.
And how long do we have? Is now you have until when to purchase tickets, and
They have it till
also
Friday to purchase
until
tickets.
now. So there's nothing at the door, so they have to be purchased in advance by Friday.
Yep.
So
You
you
will be
guys,
turned around at the door. And the women at the door do not play games. If you don't have a ticket or your name not on the list, you will be turned around at the door.
okay.
Yeah.
So you guys do not wait to the last minute. You know how we do sometimes. Wait to the very last minute. Am I going to go? And you wait to the day of. But as you say, you got to make sure those tickets are purchased by this Friday. So today's Monday. You still got 4 days. And is there a cutoff time? Is it by 5 o'clock or anytime?
Just before 11:59 p.m.
Okay.
on Friday.
Okay. And Friday is November 5th.
November 5th.
Okay.
Yep.
So you guys have until this Friday, November the 5th, to purchase those tickets. If you haven't purchased those tickets for the 5th annual Evening of Distinction. And once again, give them a brief synopsis once again before we end the live, and tell everyone just briefly, just encourage people to come out.
It is a night of elegance, you guys. The women have on tailor-made dresses. I mean, just like they're going to the Globes, the BET Awards. The men have on their tailored suits. It is a excellent night to come and be amongst some great people in the community. And we have a 360 booth. The Tanya Brown is going to host our red carpet. We'll have cash bar there, live band. It's just going to be a phenomenal night. And we'll have some guest speakers that are coming in. There might be some drop in from the gubernatorial people that's running for governor. Some people might drop in. People running for senator may drop in. Might have a celebrity guest drop in. Who knows? But definitely come on out that night and be amongst the people, be amongst the stars of your community.
Okay.
Friday.
Now, if anyone wants to get in contact with you, provide your social media handles and your emails, and of course, any contact phone numbers if you want to give that out, because I know how sometimes you might have a business, like me, I have a business phone number and a personal phone number. So just provide all your social media handles. Like somebody may reach you out, somebody watching this podcast may want to reach out to you in regards to the bullying as well, and also in regards to your upcoming event. So provide your social media handles and also email, contact phone numbers so they can get in contact with you.
All my social medias, you can find me Isaac Wilson. Instagram, Political Sigma. Twitter, Political Sigma, Facebook, like I said, Isaac Wilson. You can go to the IsaacWilsonProject.org. That has all of my contact information, phone numbers, emails, and you can do a consultation there. Drop a message there, and it'll come to us as an email. That's mostly what people do. Go to the website, drop a message, and we kind of respond to it. So that's basically it. The one thing that I'll say, I always leave something for my parents. And to them, while you're giving your children everything that you did not have as a child, don't forget to give them the things that you did have: the love, the nurturing, the support. And sometimes your mom and daddy told you no. Okay, so don't forget to give them what you did that you also had. Stop dwelling on what you didn't and trying to provide them with everything that you didn't. That you forget to give them what you did have.
And nothing is wrong with saying no, because I tell my son no all the time. But guess what? Let me tell you what no did for me. Me telling my son no and not giving him everything, now he's making straight A's. Mm-hmm. Me fussing and thinking sometimes people were saying that I'm such a hard parent, you're too hard, because I'm a single mom, and people were saying, well, you too strict on him. But guess what? My son is now a straight A student. Mm-hmm. Different colleges are contacting him. So I am one proud parent. So no is a complete sentence.
And just because your kids made the honor roll for the 9 weeks,
right,
don't mean you got to go out and buy all this. That's what they're supposed to do.
Thank you.
They're supposed to go make A's and B's in school. Now, if they were struggling last year and now they made 2 9 weeks and they got A, B honor roll or something for 2 9 weeks, okay, that might deserve something. Mm-hmm. Something. Mm-hmm. So we just got to stop with the with the giving of everything, because our kids now aren't working for anything, and they're thinking that everything is we got to stop the microwave society where they got to have it now, which you might not agree. If you're giving them everything and when they get to be 16, 17 and you can no longer provide it, it turns criminal.
Right.
It turns criminal and they go steal it, or they go and try to hang with the wrong crowd to get it. They start doing the wrong things in order to get it. So let's be mindful of what we're doing. There's a fine line, 50-50 of how we're raising our children.
And I'm glad you said that, because there are some kids that are not doing what they're supposed to do, but they're still getting
everything.
And I'm like,
mama feel guilty that daddy's not there. Mama feel guilty that she's probably can't make every game because she got to work. Yeah.
What do you say to those parents that may be doing that because they feel guilty? You know, because I tell my son, and this is nothing against his dad, because I tell him, because he's not there, you still love him and you still forgive him, even though he's not there. But sometimes we have to realize, just because someone is not in our life, sometimes that God purposed it that way. And it's for a reason. But I tell my son all the time to forgive him. And even if he's not going to do it today, just welcome it with open arms. But what do you say to those parents that may be feeling guilty, like you say, and they're providing their children with everything? How you keep them from not feeling guilty?
You got to look at the long haul. When, like I said, when your child is 17, 18, 19, and you know, they're not getting it from you anymore, or whatnot. And what are they going to do? How are they going to channel that behavior? How are they channeling the behavior now that you are giving it to them? You know, are they, you know, going to school and hanging with the wrong crowds because you're giving them everything and they think they got to hang with the crowd that has the shoes and the clothes and all that good stuff? How is that going to be an influence on your child's life as he progresses in life? What are they going to do with their own kids? Or whatnot. So it's not something that we can just say, you know, it's for right now, but it's a culture that we're creating that we got to stop creating with our children and with our Black culture. But you don't have to feel guilty. You're putting food on the table. You're putting clothes on the back. You're doing the necessary things that you were supposed to do. And, you know, I don't think God intended for you to give your child everything. God didn't give his disciples everything that they wanted. He didn't give the people what they wanted. So we got to do what we got to do to raise our children, but we don't have to give them everything that they need.
Okay, I'm actually trying to get to the comments, but the mouse is stopped. It's stuck. Hold on a second, because I want to look at some of the comments that came through. Hold on. You know what? Okay. Go right here. Okay, there you go. Thank you, Jamil. Let me go through some of the comments, because I was totally missing the comments. Which one you saw?
You went from Jacksonville to Paris Island Marine.
Which one is that? I don't see that one.
Victor White.
Okay, where is it? Because I want to put it on the screen. I don't see that. Second one from the top. Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't necessarily go with the intention from traveling from Jacksonville to Paris Island. I was coming through and I said, okay, let me stop at Paris Island. Because I wanted to see Paris Island. And I took out my pen and paper and started writing while I was there. So it wasn't a destination for me. It just happened to be on the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let me see what else Victor said. So we're telling on people now, y'all let them kids handle their problems. That builds character. What happens when he get on his job? Is he going to call one of y'all when someone is pushing him to excel? Victor, so are you saying that, of course, when it comes to bullying, you have to say something? Even if your child comes, you have to address the issue if that's what you're referring to.
And we can't allow our children to handle their problems. If they did, we wouldn't have 3% of kids. I mean, if they handled it well, we wouldn't have 3% of children that's committed suicides in the last 4 years here in the United States. We wouldn't have 7 children dead in the last 3 years here in South Carolina if they knew how to handle those problems. Bullying is something that is very different today than it was when we were children. Because now we didn't worry about guns and knives and all. We fought and we, were friends tomorrow, and that was just it. Today, they're taking knives and guns to school. Somebody has to intervene there. because we're seeing so much of TV and we're seeing so much of entertainment raising our children today.
Right.
Because we didn't have Snapchat and Facebook and all that. You had a dial-up AOL Messenger and you had MySpace. And MySpace will go out because if your phone was off, you ain't had no internet.
Right.
Because the phone used to come through there. So the things that we have today, these kids are battling a lot. And if you look at the news lately, you got Facebook and Instagram. They're saying that it is a mode for teenage girls being having traumatic episodes and all this other stuff. It's too much. They can't handle it.
Right.
So we got to step in. We got to intervene, and somebody has to be the voice of reason with our children.
Let me see what else Victor said. He said, "Man, y'all tripping. Some kids are capable of making the honor roll. I think it says honor roll, and they shouldn't be pressured or bullied into making grades they aren't capable of making. Y'all aren't living with the rest of us common folks. Y'all tripping hard tonight." No, Victor. I mean, every. I will say this. I'm not saying that you have now. This is just me talking. This is my personal opinion. I'm not saying every child has to be on the honor roll, but we should recognize those that are excelling. But you also recognize those kids that are doing their best because, like you said, because I know for me, I was an honor roll student, but when it came to test taking, I wasn't a good test taker. But what you're saying, it's not. I know I'm not pressuring my child to make good grades, but I encourage it, but I'm not pressuring him, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
There's a difference between pressuring and challenging someone to live to their fullest potential.
Right.
If I know that you're capable of making A's and you're out here making C's because you don't want to do the work because you're going to be disruptive, be a class clown, as a parent, I'm supposed to allow you to continue to do that? No, I'm going to push you because I know that you can make the A. Pressuring would be, oh, you're not playing sports, you're not doing nothing until you do this, and I want you to make an A when you made a B. No, we're talking about C's and D's and A's and B's. Now, I don't think a parent, because you made an 88 and there's a B, a parent gonna beat you down because you didn't make an A. That's not what we're talking about. Right. We're talking about a child who's making C's and D's, who might have an F or whatever. We know that they're capable of making A's and B's. Now, if history ain't your greatest subject, and we know you struggle with that for about 3 or 4 years, then that C might be what it is.
Right.
But we're going to correct and challenge the status quo until we find out that that's all that you can do.
Absolutely. Because I'm glad you said that, because my son, one of his grades, he had a 99. And he got his grade was updated. And he was like, "Did you see my update?" Guess what his grade went to? A 98. I'm like, dude, that's still good. So now he has his mindset to where he wants to excel.
He wants to do his best.
Yes. And that's that. And it's all about them. It's all about the mind. Yeah. If you are in the right mindset and you want to excel, I mean, that 1 point up from a 99 to a 98, he was upset. I mean, real mad. I'm like, dude, that's still an A. I said, calm down. It's okay. He said, well, man, I wanted to make a 99 or better. And I'm happy about that, because there was one time, like you said earlier, when you know they're capable of doing better, there was a time where he was not applying himself. Right. There was a time he was doing just enough just to say, I did it. Mm-hmm. But now he wants to excel. And that does make the difference.
It makes the difference.
Oh, shoot. Let me go to the other comment that I may have missed. Okay. Victor says, everything ain't bullying. 3% ain't a lot.
You're right. Everything isn't bullying. I tell parents that all the time. That ain't bullying. Bullying is something that is consistent. It's unwanted aggression behavior that is consistent. So if you bother my child today in class and go home and say, they go home and say it's bullying. No, that's not bullying. Now, if you bother my child all week, now that may be a turn of bullying. So you're right. Everything ain't bullying. And then 3% is a lot in terms of children. That's thousands of children. 3% over the entire country. That's a lot of children dead.
Right.
From suicides. 3% is a lot.
It is. Let me see what else Victor just want to start trouble tonight. Victor, people been taking guns and knives to school. It just wasn't reported like it is today. In 92, we had a shooting at Royal Elementary where a boy shot himself, and he was a 3rd grader at school, and it was swept under the rug. That is true. And also, let's see what Nakia says. He knows he can do it. Yep. And what else Victor says? Victor says your best employee and your worst employee probably makes the same pay, and the better employee works harder for no reason. Interesting thought.
I wouldn't say they're working for no reason. Maybe they just have a work ethic in themselves, and it's about morality for them. Just because you're cheating don't mean I need to cheat.
Right.
You know, just because you're stealing from the job and I don't steal from the job, I mean, that doesn't make it right. I'm gonna start stealing, you know, because he made the same. So that doesn't do anything for me. That doesn't move me either way, because I'm doing stuff on morality to be right within myself. To be a good employee, because guess what? When it comes time for raises, when it comes time for promotion, 9 times out of 10, it's that person that's been doing it right that gets the job. It's very rarely that person that's been doing it wrong gets that raise and gets that promotion.
Absolutely. And I agree. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss any comments. Let me go back to the top. Make sure I didn't miss anything. You see anything I missed? I think we covered all of them. Okay, that was the last one. Wait a minute. Here Victor is again. But at the end of the day, we both are compensated the same. The C student and the A student will both graduate. Victor.
It's the same if that's the goal. It carries the same weight if that's the goal. If that's not the goal, it doesn't carry the same weight.
And Victor, you just want to start trouble tonight. Lord have mercy. But back to, I want to also touch bases on the importance, because I want to also, because the next Monday election will be over, but I also want to reiterate the importance of voting on tomorrow. There are elections tomorrow in Darlington, Florence, and all counties around the area. Make sure you vote, because your voice needs to be heard.
Go vote. Your voice needs to be heard. Your vote matters. Yeah, you're one vote, but it matters. Matter of fact, in Florence a couple of years ago for the mayor's race, it was single digit votes that Mayor Wukila won. I think it was like 6 or 7 votes.
That's it.
It was a tight race.
Wow.
Single digit voting that won that race. And that happens in this country in these local elections that are important. So your vote matters. Just think if those 7 or 8 people would have stayed home and said, my vote doesn't matter, then he probably wouldn't have been our mayor.
Yeah.
But it happened because it came out.
And the crazy thing is that a lot of times, like those elections that take place, those are the main ones that we don't show up for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy. And like I said, I reiterate, I was one of those people, but I show up for everything now. It is so important.
Yeah, we need to show up for the vote tomorrow. It's going to matter. Our future depends on it. So definitely show up and vote tomorrow here in Florence.
And also, Darlington, I don't want to, just like you, I don't want to tell you who to vote for. Just vote. And I also want to share the comment from the McKnight twins. Great conversation. One life is too much.
Yes.
And also, she says, we help them now so that when they are adults, they can handle it themselves appropriately. And I also made the statement that a lot of times children, because I know for me, I said that there was a time where me and my son was going through a rough patch, and that was just and all because he was being bullied. And it's like a lot of times you pay attention to their grades, you pay attention to their behavior. Mm-hmm. If they're doing things differently, then something is wrong. And we started butting heads. And I'm an advocate. You know, a lot of people in our community are not, but I'm an advocate in counseling. I had gotten my son in counseling, and it made a difference. And that's when, and I not only am I a spiritual person, but I also believe counseling helps as well. I fasted and I prayed, but I also sought counseling. Mm-hmm. And all of that in combination, it helped. And and here's another thing I tell parents. I knew that there was a point where I was doing a lot of yelling, and I had to, in the midst of me fasting and praying, I reversed it. Instead of telling him what he was doing wrong, I changed the narrative. I started speaking to the king in him. I started telling him that you're going to excel. You're going to be destined for greatness. And I started to see the change. Now, it wasn't overnight,
Yeah,
but it changed.
It's better to repair disconnected children than broken adults.
Ooh, say that again.
It's better to repair disconnected children than broken adults.
That is so good. I hope y'all are taking notes.
Get them back connected to whatever it is that they're supposed to be connected to. And it'll work out better for them in the end, because if you keep that disconnect in there, they're going to grow up to become broken adults, and they're going to go out in the world, and the world is going to chew them up, whether they're broken or not.
Yes.
Okay. So that's what we got to remember. Put your child in the place to win in every facet. Don't worry about what the world says. Don't worry about what the community says. Therapy works, counseling works, talking to your pastor works, praying works, fasting works. Whatever you do that's going to get you to the finish line, that's what you do.
Absolutely.
And what worked for your household may not work for somebody else's household. So you can't look at somebody and say, oh, they did it, I'm gonna do it. No, get what works for you and your children. And one thing you said, I hate the most. I hate when people yell at the children. I hate it with a passion. I do a one knee thing. So if a child is little, I get down on one knee, eye to eye, because I think of children as people. They're people. They're just miniature people. So you got to talk to them on a level. You understand what you just did. Talk back to me. Let me, let you reiterate what I'm challenging to you, so that we can get a better understanding. The other thing is, I tell teachers all the time and people that you're on a job for 8 hours a day. How many of your coworkers you don't like just because you don't like them? And some of y'all don't like y'all bosses. So when a child goes to school and they get in trouble or whatever case may be, they're at school for 7.5 hours a day. They don't like some of their teachers just because they don't like some of their students just because they're just like you. So you got to put yourself in their shoes. Right. You're in a small classroom for 45 minutes at a time. You can't leave. You can't do this. You got to ask somebody to go to the bathroom. But on your job, you ain't got to do that. You can just go.
Right.
You just clock out and take your little break. They can't do that. So you got to think about what kids go through and be able to talk to them on a level like you're talking to your friends. Now, there's a fine line between talking to them like your friend and being a parent, but I'm just saying that communication, talk to them like they're adults.
Right.
Talk to them like they're people.
Right. And that's one of the things that when my son was small, you know how a lot of times parents do the baby talk? I never did that.
Yeah.
I taught to him plain English. I'm not doing that. It was like, you should. I'm like, I'm not doing that, because that's going to affect him. I'm not doing that. Let me go back through some of the comments. Oh, Victor looked like he wrote a book. Jesus. Let me see what the kids said first. Agree. As an educator, I encourage them where they are and where there could be.
Yes.
And let's see this paragraph what Victor wrote. Lord have mercy. No, I'm bringing the perspective from the blue collar world. You white collar individuals sometimes get caught up in the office politics when us blue collar folks talk to each other crazy, and we do that out of love and expectations. So if I'm welding and you're slacking, I'm going to use some hard choice words to encourage you to move faster. And I'm going to need you to take those words in stride, not run and tell your mama that Vic is bullying me on the job. Lord have mercy, Victor. And then McKnight Twin said true.
No comment. you can talk. It's almost like being on a sports team. It's some kids I coach. I'm a head assistant coach at Wilson baseball. It's some kids, because I know who they are or whatever kids can be, and I know they can take it. I can talk to them some kind of way. Some of them I can't. Right. So it's about who you can talk to that way and who you can't. You can't talk to everybody that way, because you mess around and you talk to me like that on my job, I might knock you in your face. Right. Because I'm a grown man. You ain't gonna talk to me no kind of way. Now you can tell me, hey bro, I think we need to come on and blah blah blah. But you ain't about to curse. You ain't about to yell. You ain't about to do none of that, because we're both grown. Okay? That's just me. Right. Now, you may be able to cuss and do whatever at the other boy over there. He may say, okay, got it. You can't do everybody like that. Right. And that's not blue collar, white collar. It's how you talk to people.
Right. I agree. I agree totally, because I'm one of those people. And the kid says, absolutely. I'm one of those people. I'll be honest. I'm sensitive. I can be real sensitive. Like you talk to me a certain way, one thing about me, I don't always express, like if you say something to me and it may hurt me, or like if you tear me down and you say something to me, I'm not going to yell at you or or retaliate, what I'll do, my mechanism, I'll shut down. And you'll be like, well, why Tori stopped talking to me? And sometimes I may never tell you. Sometimes I'll address it, but sometimes I won't. And then like there's sometimes when you address the problem and then it makes it worse. Like, because I addressed an issue where someone said something to me a certain way. And I was like, I don't like the way you said that to me. You know, I'm 40 at the time I was 44. I'm 44 years old. Don't talk to me that way. And their thing was, why you got to be so sensitive? I'm like, it's not me being sensitive. It's just there's a way that you say things. There's a tone, and there's because if I'm talking to you with respect, I expect that in return. So you're absolutely right. You have to be mindful of how you say things, the tone, and even your body language. You know what I mean? And sometimes people can say things without saying things with their body language and their eyes. So
it ain't what you say, it's how you say it.
Absolutely. Let's see. Victor, I treat everybody the same. If you mad, then you mad. If it doesn't bother me, it doesn't bother me one bit. We can work or fight either way. You moving too slow and you're holding me up now. You know, Victor, I'm going to get you after this podcast, just so you know. But no, I disagree that you do not treat everybody the same. And we're going to talk about that later because I don't know. You don't. The McKnight twin says people are different, so you have to build relationships with them. Hard words can be motivating to one and damaging to another. And that's the thing. It's all about how you say things, because like something that I'm able to handle, you may not be able to handle. And something that you can handle, I may not be able to handle. Because I know for me, I don't like for people to talk to me harshly. Because that's not how I'm a very humble person. I like to think I'm humble anyway, but it takes a lot to get me upset. So if I don't talk to you in a disrespectful way, I expect for that to be reciprocated. That's just how I am. But
it's certain friends I can't talk to I'm very direct.
Yeah.
I'm very direct. I'm very honest. Certain friends I know I can't do that to. I can't be as direct as I want to be with them. Some friends I ain't as direct. Like they want me to be more direct to them. Right. So you gotta, like she said, you gotta have those relationships that you know who you can talk to and who you can't, because you're gonna lose some good people if you have this mindset of I'm who I am and I ain't gonna change for nobody.
Right.
You're gonna lose a lot of people along the way.
Right.
Because you can't go through life like that.
Right.
You just can't.
And I hate people that say that. Well, I'm the way I am. I don't like that. I don't like when people say that. And also, and Marvin says, yo, what's up, Marvin? Marvin, I know you probably was in the gym. You probably just tuning in. But I think that's very important. It plays a role. And I also pay attention to not only I pay attention to consistency in a person's character as well. That plays a role. But like you said, you know what to say and how to say to certain people. And there's some people, and I say this often, you have to know who to be patient with when people are treating you a certain way, and who to completely disconnect from. Because if it's costing your peace, it's too expensive. So there's some people it's necessary that you sever ties. It doesn't mean that you hate them or anything. It just means that is, you have that their season in your life is over, basically. So, and I want to make sure I touch all the comments. I think I got everything. But once again, I want you guys to make sure, if you haven't already, purchase those tickets for the 5th annual Evening of Distinction. I'm telling you guys, it is an awesome. Matter of fact, I got to make sure. Let me look in the closet, see what I got. I got to attend this year.
It's an excuse to go shopping.
What?
It's an excuse to go
because it's an elegant night, and I mean, and then also you have, and I listen to him every Sunday. Jeffrey Lampkin will be here, and he's a clown. He is. He's
just a clown.
So Jeffrey, if those of you that don't know, I listen to Jeffrey Lampkin. He's on the Big DM, and he's on every Sunday. And he also has what's the name of his restaurant?
Country Boy's Kitchen in Sumter.
Yes,
two locations, downtown and by Shaw Air Force Base.
Absolutely, got to throw that out there. And let me see what Marvin says. I had to bond Tori Williams out. Oh, okay. I got you, Marvin. But yeah, I love Jeffrey, and I listen to him faithfully every Sunday on my way to church. So I'm excited. And I actually, unfortunately, I saw him a couple of weeks ago, but it was on a sad occasion. It was at a funeral, so I didn't get a chance to talk to him. But I'm looking for, like, because I plan to be there this year, because I've been hearing about it over here. And here's the other thing I meant to say at the beginning of the show. I will say this, that God will make your name great, because I heard the name Isaac Wilson before I even knew who Isaac Wilson was.
Oh, wow.
So whatever you're doing in the community, make sure you continue to do it, because I heard about your greatness before I knew who you was.
Wow.
So God will make your name great.
Wow.
So continue to do what you're doing in the community, and don't stop under no circumstances. Don't stop what you're doing, because like I said, I've heard, of course, we have a mutual friend, Shasta, Tanya, Mom, and like I said, I've seen you. And like I said, I heard Isaac Wilson before I knew who he was.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So that says a lot.
Wow.
So that's why I said it's important to, your character will speak for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's people that are going to speak for you when you may not be able to speak for yourself. There's people that's going to defend you when you're not around. There's people that's going to, you know what I'm saying? They're going to give you and I think that was awesome what you said earlier too. The reason for this, by you wanted to share flowers, and you didn't want to be just, not all people are like that. Some people, they want me, and they want to focus on themselves. So I think that's a great thing that you want to, you know what I'm saying? Let other people
share.
That's awesome.
I want to share, man. Many people think I'm going, like, I do business consulting. Many people, I'm going to charge them out the gazoo, or I build a website. No, I want you to succeed.
Right.
That's all I want you to do. Whatever it is that you want to do, and build it on the greatest platform. And if I can be a part of that, let me be a part of that. God got me. I'm going to do whatever, he has for me anyway, whether I help you today or not.
Right.
He's still going to give me what's for me.
Right.
So there's no need for me to be outrageous with a price. There's no need for me to, be overboard with situations and things like that, because I'm going to get me regardless.
Absolutely.
If I keep doing what he tells me I need to be doing.
Right. Because we all have a purpose. Now, my purpose may not be your purpose, but we all have a purpose. But that's what a lot of people and understand clearly. Sometimes you may have a passion for something, but that may not necessarily mean that's your purpose. Now, when your passion and your purpose come together and they line up, then that's a match made in heaven.
Listen, I never thought I'd be doing this. Never. I thought I was going to play baseball. I was in Canada, and I was cool, and I was by the water, and I was, playing on the field, and I was having girls and whatever. And I'm thinking, this don't feel right.
Right.
This don't feel right.
Right.
Like, you want me to go home you want me to do bullying? You want me to do bullying prevention? So now it's a decade. 2021 made a decade. I started Listen 365, bullying prevention in 2011.
Wow.
And 2021 made a decade.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And let me see. Corey Morrison says, speak on it.
Who is my second in command.
And he also says, y'all speaking and putting the word out. And I love it. Awesome. Awesome. That's what we're trying to do. That's what the purpose is for. And McKnight Twin says, congratulations. That is awesome. I didn't realize it's been 10 years.
10 years. And I've thought to myself, boy, you getting old.
But listen, here's the thing. Listen, if you always see that saying, you tell God your plans, he gonna laugh. What we think we're gonna be doing is not always what he has in store for us. And always remember, I tell people all the time, what God has for you is for you. And a lot of times, and this is and you said something earlier about the social media, like our kids have the social media. And like I said, growing up, I'm 45, so we didn't have all that when growing up. But it's like the reason, and a lot of people feel as though I'm being hard on my child because I don't want him on social media right now. But here's the thing. A lot of times when the kids get on social media, they get too caught up. And this is my opinion. They get too caught up in the fact of the validation. They look for validation through the likes and the comments and stuff. Because like, say if I post something, my son, and he's not even on social media yet. That's why I really don't want him on there. But like, if I post something, he'll be like, well, do you get a lot of likes or did you get a lot of, I'm like, I'm not even worried about that. If you're doing it for the right reason, you're not worrying about, because here's the thing. And this is what I want people to know, especially the business owners and people like yourself that are doing great things in the community. Like if you put something out there, don't focus on the likes, don't focus on the views and all. As long as you're doing it for the right purpose, people are going to see it. And like there are people that I didn't realize, like when you focus on the likes and the comments and stuff, there's people that was watching my podcast that I had no clue that they was watching it because they never comment. They never say anything. So I didn't know that they was watching. I can't someone come up to me, well, I see your podcast. I see you doing your thing. I had no clue that they was watching because they never comment. They never do. And that's why I encourage the business owners, for those of you that you may have a small business, continue to put your content out there. Continue to show your product, and don't worry about if you don't get the shares and stuff. And if you got to post it every day, and if you don't get one person to like it, oh, trust me, they see it.
They see it.
They see it.
I tell people, don't focus on the likes and loves. Focus on the views. Somebody clicked on it and saw it.
Right.
They saw it. Some people have 2 likes, 2 loves, but then they have 1,200 views.
Right.
That don't add up. So 1,200 people viewed it. You only got 2 likes. Okay, yeah. Come on. Yeah.
And listen, and the thing about the stories too, like if you post something in your story, you can see who saw it. They may not have reacted.
Right.
Oh, but you saw it.
You saw it. You saw it.
So I don't want people to get caught up in that. But that's the one thing. And I actually had a young lady that is a teenager that reached out to me, and I'm actually going to see what her schedule. Like she actually wants to talk about that, how social media affects their generation.
It does.
So I think that's going to be.
It affects it in a tremendous way, and I don't think children should be on social media till they're 16. That's just me.
Right.
That's me.
Right.
Because the stories and the things that I see as a bullying preventionist, as a behavioral specialist going around when people are bullying or whatever, there's naked videos in Snapchat groups that are going around of people's daughters, of young men. And they're in Snapchat groups with these pictures that are going around at schools, and they're bullying the kids for showing their pictures and stuff in that Snapchat group and stuff like that, just around social media. So I don't think kids should be on social media until they're 16. I think your mind is a little bit more developed, just a little bit, to say, okay, I ain't worrying about trying to be liked or whatever case me, blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying to focus on just having my friends and being in touch with my friends. It ain't about nothing else. But social media is a beast.
Right.
It's unmatched, and it really can't be beat until parents step in and start to take control of it. And if you are a parent out there that you don't have your children on social media, start to check their phones, because what some of them are doing is that they're on social media while they're at school. And once they get on the bus or once they get in the car, they delete the app. And so when you go check their phones, you scrolling and don't see the app, but go to the app store and you can open the app from there. So it's still on the phone. I can delete an app on my phone, but it's still in my app store.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So they may not have the app on the phone, but they may have it in the app store. So what they do is open the app stores, click on Snapchat and click open. And they have their Snapchat. Or they have their Instagram, or they have their Facebook. These are the things that we learn as these behavioral specialists. So your kids might be playing you slick. Okay? So I'm giving you the ins and outs.
I did not know that.
So go check your kids' phones. If they're not supposed to be on social media, you might want to go check your kids' phones. Go to the app store and type in these social medias. And if it says open, baby, they got a Snapchat, they got an Instagram, they got a Facebook.
Okay, you about to get my son's phone checked.
I'm just giving y'all some tools.
And let me go through some more of the comments before we wrap up. Victor says, here we go, Victor. Victor, you get on my nerves. I'm going to get you when I get off this podcast. But Victor says 45, like Trump. And Corey Morrison's proud of your progress. And I'm glad you are still focused on what you were given to do. And I'm glad to serve with you. Corey also says, oh, yes, your gift will always make room for you. And Victor, man, these kids going to jump on you. I can't believe you just snitched. Listen, there's a slick way as parents. We can do it in a slick way. And the thing about Me and my son, like I said, we're in a good place now.
Right.
So if I said, Kadesh, let me see your phone, he'd be like, okay, he'll give me his phone. And I actually, even if he didn't give me the phone, I know his code to his phone.
Right.
So I don't have to worry about that issue. Like I said, thank God we're in a good place now, but he doesn't have an issue with giving me his phone.
Listen, Vic, I tell on these kids, listen, I tell their parents, listen, ain't no shutting no doors in their house because they don't pay no bills. Ain't no privacy in their house because they don't pay no bills.
Right.
You know, they got chores. Like, I mean, you just gotta, like I said, you gotta give these kids what you had. And for some of us, for a lot of us, you ain't shut no doors in your mama's house.
Right.
Your daddy wasn't having that.
Right.
You know, so I mean, we gotta stop. We got to get back to some level of parenting with an iron fist. And again, you ain't got to be, be a general on your kids, but you got to let them know that I'm the parent, you're the child, and what I say is go. What I say go, and that's just it.
Okay.
I think we're scared. Some parents are scared of their children in these days, or whatever the case would be. And you don't have to be scared, because if I had a kid, and if you was 15 and you were 16 and you want to run away or you want to do something, baby, go. Go. And when you go, like my mama used to tell me, when you go, take what you bought and go. Don't take nothing I bought. And you go.
And some won't have anything, they're doing that. And Victor says, oh, here we go. Searching them kids' phones is like going through your mate's phone. You're going to find something you won't like. I give my kids free reign, but to each his own. I live my life. I want them to live theirs, but that's just me. Well, Victor, I'm one of those parents. I'm going to search the phone. But at this point, my son is not giving me a reason to, but if necessary, I will search the phone.
I think parents should check them every week. That's just me.
Really?
But because again, we're saying everything that our children aren't doing with us. Our children don't talk to us. Our children, stay in their rooms all the time. Mm-hmm. They won't go out and play sports. They won't do this. Or I don't know why he took that knife or gun to school and shot up that school. You know why they're doing those things? Because you ain't checking on them. But if you responsible, I'm gonna go check their phone every now and then. You could at least see what's going on.
Right.
You might not catch it every time, but you could at least I know what's going on. You ain't got to check their text messages or whatever, but you can check their history of what sites they're going on. So if you see your child in there going on a YouTube video how to build a bomb, you got a serious problem on your hand. So you just gotta check. You gotta check.
It makes sense. It makes sense because
you stop a lot of things.
It makes sense because there are some kids that they can be the model student, but they can still be doing some undercover stuff. They can be doing some undercover stuff. So you're right. You do have to check.
It's a lot of smart criminals, and it's a lot of smart, hackers and everything else. So it ain't a bad idea.
Okay, look at that comment. Isaac, you say you don't have any children, right?
Yeah, I don't have any biologically, but I got about 30,000 of them.
Okay.
Because that's how many I've reached. That's how many. Over 12,000 students have reached out to me in my 10-year period to ask me for advice. Over 12,000. We clock everyone. So I seem to think, and I've helped parents that I've told, this is what you need to do with your child. This is what your child is doing. Oh, no, they ain't doing that. When they went and done it, when I've told them, it's become correct. Because what people that don't have kids, people always say, well, you ain't got no kids, you don't know. Those are the ones that can see what you can't see, because you're in mommy mode or daddy mode all the time. So when you yell at your children and your children reacts to you yelling, the only thing you're thinking about is the parent to do what I say do. But you don't see your child the way they react to it. I may see it and say, okay, hey, your child does this when they blah, 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 blah. Guess what you're going to tell me? Oh, you ain't no parent. That ain't nothing. No, you need to check that out. This is what your child does. When you yell, this is what your child does. When you tell him no, this is what your child does in this thing. So we see things that you don't see because you're the parent all the time. So you don't get to step outside and look because you're in the mess. You're in it. You're in the parenting. So me on the outside, I'm looking. Oh, Oh, okay. You don't see that. You don't see your child as a different child when he ain't with you. Your child is a model Christian when he with you. But on the other side, your child doing this.
Right.
And you won't believe it because you don't see that side.
Right.
So just because people don't have children don't mean that they can't help parent your child in some way, in some fashion.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And let's see. I think that was the last comment. So thank you, Isaac, for coming
No
through.
problem.
Man. You came through. I gotta have you back. And once again, provide your social media handles again. I know we did it a few minutes ago, but just do that once more. And then also, you guys, if you haven't purchased your tickets for the 5th annual Evening of Distinction, please do so. Also, make sure you vote tomorrow. We're not telling you who to vote for, but just make sure you vote and let your voice be heard. So vote, 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 vote. And also, if you would like to be a guest on the Keep the Faith podcast, you can contact me at 843-920-8124. That's 843-920-8124. You can call or text that number, or you can also email me at faithisnecessary at gmail.com. And as it once more, provide your social media handles once again for those who may just be tuning in and may have missed that information. Provide your social media handles and how they're able to get in contact with you.
Instagram is political_Sigma. Twitter, we're political Sigma. Facebook, Isaac Wilson. And then my website is www.theisaacwilsonproject.org. And if you need tickets, you can go to that website as well and purchase your tickets for November 12th event, an evening of distinction hosted by the one and only Jeffrey Lampkin.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to go through these last 3 comments before we wrap up. TT says, well said, it takes a village to raise a child. Corey Morrison says, issues we see in the school, kids are on 2 different programs. And the McKnight says, wow, this has been great tonight. Ticket purchase.
Wow. Wow. I appreciate that.
Listen, so those of you who have not purchased the tickets, you have until Friday. As it says, you have until 11:59 p.m. on Friday. So purchase those tickets. So I look forward to seeing you guys there because I plan to be there as well. November the 12th is the date. And the time is
7 p.m.
Okay.
7 p.m. is it starts our cocktail hour. And that's where you take pictures and all that. And I would be remiss if I didn't do my due diligence of being a community activist and let you guys know that the Pecan Festival is this Saturday, November 6th in downtown Flow City. So come out and see all the vendors that we have out there for you this year. It's going to be great being back after being off in 2020 for COVID, but we're live and in effect this weekend for the Pecan Festival.
That's something I've never been to. I've never been to the Pecan Festival.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I probably should have told you that off the air. And Corey Martin said, "Can't wait. Let's get it." I probably should have said it off the air, but y'all, I've never been. This Saturday might be a first. We'll see. But anyway,
I'm gonna need you to go.
But thank you guys for watching. If you're just tuning in and you missed the beginning, hit that replay button. And any questions that you may have, leave them in the comments. And thank you guys for watching. We're out. And thank you once again, Isaac, for coming on.
Glad to be here.
All right. Thanks.